Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant. About a week ago, I attempted to do this problem here. Let me make myself a little bit smaller. Number 1593, split a string into the maximum number of unique substrings. So I attempted to do this problem and I failed. So I watched a video on how to do it, and that was a week ago. I haven't seen it since, and I'm going to try it again. Now, I don't know if I will actually be able to successfully do it or not, and depending on if I can successfully do it or I am unable to, I will then try to figure out, okay, well, how do I move forward? And if I'm not able to do it, where were my stumbling blocks? What's going on? How do I get this topic? So let me just read this problem again, and then we'll try to figure out if we can solve it. So given a string S, return the maximum number of unique substrings that the given string can be split into. Okay? You can split the string S into any list of non-empty strings where the concatenation of the string forms the original string. However, you must split the substrings such that all of them are unique. A substring is a continuous sequence of characters within a string. Okay, so we have this string here, which is A, B, C, C, C. Okay, now we want to be able to split this up. We can split it up by doing A, and we can say that's one substring. We can then, let me make myself a little bit smaller again, and then let me just copy this and see some of the substrings that we can actually have. So we can have like this right here, right, and then, oops, come on. Like that, we can have another substring. Now, can we have this as a substring? Well, no, because we already have a substring here, okay? But we can have a B as a substring, because that's not repeated. And notice, I'm not able to do, like, I need to be able to find all of these substrings that are put together. So there needs to be some kind of way for me in my mind, or not mind, but algorithm to keep track of the ones that I've already used and just look towards the future. And I kind of remember it was something to do with the indexing and moving forward while we're doing the recursive call. So then, just to finish this, we can do the C. And then can we do a C here? The answer is no, because we already have a C, but we can do a CC, okay? So let me come and try to do backtracking. Okay, so backtracking, the purpose of backtracking is to explore all possible options, right? And then from that, we select something. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to initialize current max is equal to 0, right? And then do this backtrack. I don't know what we're going to pass into it yet. And this is a function, okay? And I need ultimately to take this string and chop it up, right? And I need to capture all of this. So let's just say, like, maybe I need to look at the index or something. So if index is larger than length of S. Okay, and now length of s is going to be equal to length of s, like that. If this is the case, then we're outside of the bounds, and we can maybe return something. I'm not sure, actually. So just trying to observe what I'm doing right now, I'm kind of just randomly typing stuff. So I don't have a clear idea of where I'm going. I don't have a clear understanding of how this problem is going to work out. I don't have any understanding at all right now. So I'm just making a little verbal note of that. Is the way that I'm doing this is just I just created a random base case. I don't know if that's the way I'm supposed to do it. Now I need some way to, let's say that I'm coming here and I'm gonna do backtrack, and I want to start at the 0th index, right? And then what do I want to return? Current max, right? So I start here, and then from that, I'm going to pass an index here, okay? And then based on this, I need to find all solutions. And now the way that backtracking, I remember it working a long time ago, I would explore things kind of in a tree fashion where I would have like include and then another path which was don't include. Okay? And then based off of this, I would either like I need to formalize this a lot more. I'm not sure. I would either like include a thing. What does that mean? I don't know. So then let me just, but I think this problem is actually different. It's not include or don't include. This one, it was kind of like, how am I going to do this? I'm here at 0. Break, should I do break? I need to, from this starting point, I need all of these, right? So I need to do kind of like a for loop. For something in range, and then what do we want to do? We want to start at that index, and we want to go to the length of s, but we don't want to actually include it, right? Okay. So this is going to be the start. So the start, okay. And so that means, like, for example, this one, we're going to start here at this 0, and we're going to come all the way here. So now, what do we want to do? I want to try to break it here, right? So I'm going to say if, and I need some data set to be able to determine if this A is already in my set. So current, I'm just going to call it my set. Okay, is equal to set this. And now, so if s at do I start here? No, I start here, right? That means that I'm gonna add this entire thing. I don't wanna do that, right? I just wanna check this. Okay, well, what happens if this isn't my set? What would that be? That would just be I don't even know how I would get this, because I need two values. I have start here, but what's the second value? I don't even know. I need to get this right here. That just one value. And then if it's not good, like if it's not in my set, I need to go up again, right? And then I need to try this like AB and see if that's in my set. How do I do that? So if S indexed at X and Y, I don't know what we're doing, not, or in my set, I want to come back up, and then start is going to be different. But I actually want this to remain the same, right? And I just want to change this to be what this new start is. What if this one is index and this one is start? Maybe, I don't know. Now, am I gonna get a problem because it needs to be start plus 1, actually? And then this is going to be the number of elements, but this is not inclusive. This is not inclusive. Man, I don't know. So then if it's not in my set, then what I can do is I can break it. So I just say my set dot add I have no idea what I'm doing at all. Okay, like this. And then I need to backtrack, but at the next one, right? With index, or start, actually, plus 1 to go to the next one. And if we add it, what happens? We actually do current max plus equals 1. That's not going to work either. Okay. So we were unable to solve it. I have no idea. I have zero idea. So we're gonna go to Copilot. We're gonna try to get it to tell me what I did wrong. Okay, so it's not updating current max correctly across recursive calls. You're implementing but not decrementing it when it backtracks. Okay, missing the removal. Okay, incorrect base case. Okay, so for end, this is end, not start. And then they have index +1. This is also a +1. And then this doesn't have a +1. Oh my goodness. Okay, so where's my little notebook? Here it is. So I'm going to try to write down some of the observations that I'm seeing right now. I'm going to start off with a thing that I am doing a for loop, and not for some reason, just because I'm not good at it, or not, I don't want to say that I'm not good at it, but I haven't studied it enough, obviously. If I'm being stumbled by this, I haven't studied it enough. Doing a for loop and still getting messed up with the bounds of the array. Okay, right? I shouldn't even need to think about this. This is going to be the number of elements, which is 1 higher than the number of indices. Okay, and then what I wanted to do was at the end of this, start is going to be what? Now range is non-inclusive, right? So this means it is going to be start and then stop -1. So now the last element of start is going to be the last element of start is going to be the last index, right? Because this is the number of elements, but it's not inclusive. So it's one greater, but then -1. So this is actually going to be the last index, okay? So I don't want that +1. But the problem now comes is at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to write this again. I'm going to write this as well. I am getting tripped up with making sure both the beginning and ending with both the beginning indexes and ending are able to be valid when in a array sliced environment. When in an array sliced environment. Okay, So the reason why I say at the beginning is now think about it at the beginning when range, so start is index, and index, let's just say, is 0. Let's go to the 0 situation. So it's 0 here, start is 0, index is 0, right? Pass that in. Start is also 0. So now I have start of 0, stop of 0. See? But then this one is non-inclusive, so it's completely invalid, and so that doesn't make any sense. Need to look. Oops, what's going on? Okay. Cool. Need to look at array slicing. So right now, I'm trying to absorb all of the things that I need to fix in this. Or fix in my brain, sorry. So what I'm trying to do is take every single question and identify those points at which I'm struggling. And just knock out all of those points that I'm struggling and use it as an opportunity to practice and look at it and see how to do it correctly. Okay? So need to look at array indexing, slicing, array string slicing. In particular, how to do what? How to have a single element in an array. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is now to come here. Current max is not updated correctly across the recursive calls. So with backtracking, I know that we need to keep. Oh, Susie is home. Okay, so what was the second thing that I was just talking about? It is so backtracking, the first thing that I need to spend some time to learn and think about and study is how the array parsing, slicing actually works. The second thing that I need to do is try to get an understanding of how the backtracking works with updating these variables like current max, right? And that's something that I'm going to be looking at, thinking about when I look at the solution. So I don't want to just look at the solution, get the answer, and then there we go. I want to understand what's going on. And by the way, the next video I do, the next Leetcode video, is going to be this exact same problem. I'm not going to stop until I understand the problem, not just can kind of solve it one time. I want to understand it. So missing removal of my set. So I need to remove the variable from my set. That makes sense if I'm not including it, right? So that's another thing. I need to think about like include, not include, something like that. Incorrect base case. Okay. The base case should reflect if you've reached the end of my string. I thought I did that. Okay. So I thought that that would actually cover it right there, but it says that it's not. If index is equal to the length of S. Then, oh, this is just less than. That's actually, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense now, actually. Obviously, that's not going to work. I think the first thing that I want to do is actually just do this for I in range, and then I'm gonna do 0, 2, and then length of S, okay, and then I am just going to come here and print S, and then sliced at I, to, do I need like a double for this? I would need a double one, right? So I to the ending index. So ending index is what? What if I just did I to I? I want to see what happens in this case. What if I just run this and then just, I don't know, return? It's gonna fail, but I just want to see what happens. Like, what does it print out to the screen? Last executed, come on. It should get, wait, it doesn't even like it. Invalid syntax for I in range. Like that. Okay. Okay, so it is just like invalid right there. So if I did +1, this should fail on the last one, right? So this does not fail on the last one. Okay, so there we kind of go, because this is not inclusive. This is not inclusive. So this one, so let's see. That means because this one is non-inclusive, this will stop at the last index, right? And then I add 1. So at the last index +1, that's the length. But then this one is non-inclusive too. Okay, I need to keep thinking this through, but it's good for me to think through it. Okay, so now let me come look at the answer, and then based off of this, I am going to try to understand some of those concepts that I've identified as being troublesome. Okay, so I have my set, which is what I was using. Base case, this is actually what I was meaning to do, so that's fine. I was meaning to do that. I didn't do it correctly, but that's fine. So under the case of the base case, I want to find this max count, length of used. So how many elements are in used? That makes sense. So I'm just gonna make some notes. This problem, I'm gonna say this backtracking problem uses the number of elements in a set to be able to have valuable information, to be used as valuable information towards those things important in the problem. I'm trying to get to something. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to get to. Information needed to be determined in the problem. So what I'm trying to say is this problem requires me to find the number of breaks, essentially, and each break is stored in the set. And then I can use the number of elements in the set to determine how many subarrays there are. So what I'm trying to articulate is I am trying to speak out loud to myself that I can use this technique in the future. If there comes a situation in which I notice the number of elements in my set is equal or correlates, is the same as the answer, or it can be useful in some way for calculating the result or is useful in the problem, I can use this length of sets to give me that information, okay? So, length of sets tells me how many subarrays I have. Here's another thing that I need to say, at that given time, right? And what I mean by that is I have this, and I'm going to be breaking this up, and it's going to hit the base case when we reach the end. And I'm going to be adding and subtracting from my sets based off of these dynamic parameters within the backtracking. We haven't gotten to that yet, so I don't know how that's going to work. But the number of elements is going to be changing. So let's kind of look at how this is working. So for end, so we're going to do this end. Range, and we're going from our starting. So okay, so here's our start, here's our end. But actually the end is going to be incrementing one by one. So what this should be is we're starting here and then, oh, I see. Okay, so we're bringing this here, we're breaking it, and we're doing a for loop, and then we're going there. Okay. So this seems extremely simple, and it's going to make me look kind of dumb to even need to say this and need to think about it and put it in my head. But apparently I do need to say it, and I do need to put it in my head, which is when I'm in a for loop and I determine, right? Because previously I was, at the beginning of this problem, I was looking at this and I was saying, well, I want to include this and then I want to go here. Okay, well, I have in my for loop, the element that I am scooching over can be either it can be the first element, right? I can be scooching over the beginning, or I could be scooching over the end. Okay, and I just said that I wanted to be scooching the end over. And I wanted to keep the beginning in place. So the beginning is right here. Okay, so I need to think about how that accordions out, essentially. So this is actually going to be the end. Okay. And I'm going to start here. Okay, and then, but this index is actually going to be the first ending, right? So I actually want this +1 because I want this, and this is going to be different. So let me think about how I'm going to slice it, and then I'm going to look back at the problem. So I want to start at my index, and I want to go to my end, right? If this is in the set, I don't want to do anything. I want to come back here. This end is going to accordion out by 1, and I'm going to check if it's in the set again. Okay, so now if it's not in the set, what do I want to do? I want to add it to my set, and this should be index to end, right? Okay. I don't necessarily want to do this anymore. And then I want to put in the next block, which I just said that I'm doing this. So I want the end plus 1. Plus 1. Okay, so now I'm going to look and see if I got things kind of. So I still need to think about this. So end. So this is the number of elements, but it is non-inclusive. And why do we want it to be? Why do I want it to be the number of elements? I understand that this is non-inclusive. All of those are non-inclusive. Okay, whatever. Add the substring. So this is not. This is not end plus 1. Why is it not end plus 1? Used dot remove. Okay. So then I do my set dot remove, and then I can remove this substring, right? Where's hashtag? There we go. Why is this not end plus 1? And does this... Okay, because end is always going over by 1, but I backtrack here, and this is the start, right? So this is the start. Then I'm going to be doing that there. Okay. I need to think about a lot of this. And then I remove it here. So need to like mull over how I am adding and taking away from my state variables and data structures during the backtracking algorithm. So what I'm meaning is I added this to the set, and then I perform backtracking recursively, and it comes back up here, but then I popped out of that, and then I take it away. I take it out of the set. So I'm saying I'm not including it, right? And then I go back up to the end. So, okay. Does this run? Current max dot remove. Oh, substring. Wrong answer, so it doesn't like it. Current max. I need to do my base case, right? Okay. And actually, so let me, current max is equal to the maximum of current max and length of my set. I think that's right. Let's see. I cannot access local variables. That's annoying. Okay. Max dot or self. Okay, so it's good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back tomorrow and I'm gonna keep thinking about this. I'm gonna think about it at night about how these things. Oh. And my food is ready too. So, going forward, I am going to try to think about these things, try to get this into my subconscious, try to make some more notes about it, and just keep going through it. And I'm going to be back tomorrow with this same problem. And yeah, so if that is interesting to you, subscribe to this channel, join me along in this journey. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get this problem knocked out and understand it. So thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.